Well, we're here with a very special bonus episode of not really the League of Extremely Ordinary Gentlemen. This is just kind of a special spill thing here because Corey and we all went to Fantastic Fest, and Corey and co-host have been talking about it on their show.
You know what? You know they're going to call theirs a very special Let's Do This.
Yeah.
So we might as well call this a special Leog.
See, the difference is that with them, though, it's like it's always just them on theirs. So, yeah, it is Let's Do This. With us, it's us and one of our guests that we've had on the Leog, Brian Salisbury. Hello, Brian.
Tonight on a very special Leog.
Good to have you back, Brian.
I guess
you
it's good
got
to
a
be back.
lot of positive feedback last time.
You guys have some really awesome listeners, and it's nice to actually be liked in a comment section for a change. I like that. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, they do like you for about, 6 months?
No, that's. I think generally speaking, I don't know if you go that much to other movie sites, but we really are kind of a bizarre little island as far as fans go and commenters. I mean, there's occasionally.
No, for the most part. I love 95%.
I also think we're
our
one of the
commenters.
only sites that actually will ban trolls, like people who are like on there just to stir up trouble, to be complete douchebags, and obviously are there for nothing but that will just go, we don't have time for that. Ban!
True.
I like that. That's nice.
Yeah, I do too. I think that might be the thing. It's like we wield a heavy stick. But anyway, we're not here to talk about our sticks. No, that's for the regular.
That's for the other show.
That's for the regular Leog. We're here to talk about Fantastic Fest, which is the best movie festival in the world that takes place in Austin, Texas, every year in September. And we all went to see it in varying degrees of attendance. I believe Brian saw it considerably more than we did this year. I was kind of pulled back for a number of reasons, not the least of which is my car wasn't, strictly speaking, legal to drive.
Sorry, let me ask you something. Well, I throw this question to both of you guys because I'm a newbie too. This is the first time I've ever been to one.
Yeah.
But how did it come about? What's the origin story of Fantastic Fest?
Well, I mean, it's run by Tim League and Harry Knowles. Harry Knowles, of course, from Ain't It Cool News, and Tim League is the owner of the Alamo Drafthouse Cinemas. Now, I believe it was Tim's idea originally, wasn't it? Wasn't it kind of like Tim was talking about it, started organizing, and Harry kind of joined in?
Yeah, I mean, I think in a lot of ways it was a Tim League pipe dream that, with a little bit of clout from Ain't It Cool and a little bit of notoriety from the Draft House, they were able to actually give it some wings and get it off the ground. I don't have a real good Peter Graves biography background on Fantastic Fest, unfortunately, because I came into it year 3, but I can tell you this. I had only been to Austin once before Fantastic Fest 3 in 2007. I came to Fantastic Fest in 2007, and right before we left town, my buddy and I, that's when we decided that we had to move here. So in a lot of ways, Fantastic Fest is it is the greatest genre film festival on the planet. But for me personally, it's a hell of a lot more than that. It's like a calling almost.
It's funny because I remember I moved here in 1992, and it wasn't for any festival. It was just because it was fucking Austin. I mean, I came here to check it out. It was like, oh my god, this town kicks ass. It's just so much better than Fredericksburg, Virginia, which it is.
Yeah,
provably. Or really,
there are a lot of towns that can boast that actually.
That's very true. And at that point, South by Southwest was not the giant monstrosity that it is now. It was actually, you could get in to see even the big shows then.
What?
It was crazy,
Yeah,
and
it's unheard of.
Everybody was polite, and it was like there wasn't that big of a trouble. People would come. People were always like, well, it's not as good as CMJ in New York, and nobody's saying that anymore. But I remember there was this point. It was like this tipping point that this year kind of reminded me of a little bit, where people started to kind of look around and be like, what are all these fucking people doing here? The word was getting around, and a local band called the Wannabes, who are all friends of mine, they put out these T-shirts every South by Southwest for years. I don't even know if they still do it or not, but the front of it had their advertisement for the shirt with the Wannabes from Austin, Texas, and the back said in big letters, "Don't move here."
Too late.
I wonder if somebody's going to do something like that with Fantastic Fest.
So are you saying that Fantastic Fest is now too big for its britches?
No, I'm just saying it just reminds me of that. And so many critics I know who've been coming for this and fans of film have now moved here.
I used to go back when it
because
was
of that.
cool.
What, Gordon from Chasing the Whale just moved here, right?
Yeah.
And that's probably entirely because of that community as well. You can't blame him. This is a great town. There's so much to do here. And not the least of which is Fantastic Fest. 8 days of genre film 8 days.
It's my eyes are completely hungover right now.
So, and the genre is what? Horror, sci-fi, action?
Horror, sci-fi, fantasy, mystery, martial arts, and as of last year, they said now it's just anything we consider to be fantastic, and they didn't even have to get a famous gay actor to say that. So
That the gay actor would have said fabulous.
well,
Get it right, Cyrus. Come on.
that's probably true.
I volunteered to do it, and they said they didn't need anyone.
Yeah, the Austin Gay and Lesbian Cinema Film Festival should totally change their name to Fabulous Fest. That's a good point.
Ooh, yeah, that's right. They could get the runoff.
Yeah, no
People
doubt.
will like, no, dude, I didn't miss Fantastic Fest. It's coming up this weekend. I already bought my ticket and everything. Only so they can fly here and go like, oh.
Yeah, there'd be some confusion when some of the geeks show up to see films called Strange
That
Invader.
sounds like a
or something.
sitcom plot device.
It does, right?
Oh, Joe, you took us to the gay festival.
I know.
Wah, wah.
It's like, oh, let's see this one called The Cave. This sounds good.
That's a movie about bears. I like bears.
But then there's plenty of people who can't tell the difference between gays and geeks anyway.
Yeah, that's probably true. In fact, that's definitely true. Seemed more that way in high school, but
Yeah.
Seems like there's a drinking game in there somewhere.
But you know what? Let's just get right into the movies that we actually saw this year. And I'm going to kick it off with a movie I know that Leon and I did not get to see, but was one of the best received films that I've heard from people, which was the Adam Green sequel to Hatchet, Hatchet 2. Now, I'm bringing this up first because, yes, I do actually read your Twitter. You're one of the 5 people I make a point of keeping up with on that, and I've seen you just drooling over it for the last week.
Love it. Oh, my gosh.
So take the ball on that one. Let me hear it.
Dude, and it's funny because you will not find a bigger detractor of the first film than me. I hated the first Hatchet. It was one of those things that's like, I appreciated what it was trying to do. I appreciate the practical effects. But Jesus Christ, know when to end a scene, and don't let people that can't ad-lib all their lines. There has to be a point where you look at that and you go, okay, well, they're talking about crabs for 10 minutes, and they're just saying the same line over and over again, back and forth, and they're walking to the end of the street, and we don't need to see them walk all the way to the end of the street. That's where the editing tool needs to come in and just take all that. That was really my problem, is that there were a lot of just filmmaking errors that took me out of it and kept me from enjoying it. What was great about the second one is I felt like all that stuff was tightened up, and it allowed me to just focus on all of the really bloody, really messy awesomeness of it. And I think what it really did well is it expanded the universe of the first one, and really it felt like a franchise all of a sudden. It didn't feel like a sequel. It felt like they were taking the original idea and adding an entire universe around it. And he did this thing where he actually makes it seem like, kind of in a Tarantino fashion, that all of his movies take place in the same universe, with kind of little nods to all the stuff he's done since Hatchet. It was great. It was a great time.
Yeah, I heard
really
there was
enjoyed
a
it.
Frozen reference in
There's
there.
a Frozen reference. There are obviously this is not an Adam Green film, but there's a Behind the Mask reference.
Oh, right, Leslie Vernon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. This movie picks up right where Hatchet left off. I think there's even a Spiral reference in there. So it's like all of these things. Oh, and some of his short films. Little things from his short films show up, and it's just a lot of fun.
I love his short films.
Oh, they're great.
He's the one who does the Halloween, the yearly.
the slap chop.
Yeah,
that
okay.
he did, basically making fun of the what is that thing called that the ShamWow guy sells? I think it's called a slap
something
chop
like
or
that,
something
yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like a pumpkin carving tool, and the guy keeps maiming himself while trying to demonstrate it.
He's the same one who did the famous Jack in the Box versus Burger King one, right?
Yes.
On Halloween
Yeah,
night.
yeah.
Now, see, that is legendary. That and the TiVo, the guy who's being stalked by his own TiVo. I mean, that's pretty awesome. I love Adam Green. The original Hatchet was a sort of it was almost like I guess it was trying to be a meta slasher film, really. I mean, it's not completely self-aware, but it's looking at the audience going, come on, we've seen a billion of these.
Absolutely.
And in of that, I thought it was a little cloying at points for all that. I mean, it was yet another one of those. Everybody is kind of a jerk and shallow, and there's a big silly killer, and once it starts going, it's a giant, silly, over the top gore fest. And I enjoyed it on that level, but I didn't understand why everybody thought it was so incredibly special. So how is 2 special compared to that, though?
Well, honestly, and this is just my thing, is that I really do think it's tighter, and I think he cleaned up a lot of. I mean, Hatchet was his first real film, and he had a lot of freshman, rookie mistakes that he was making. And I feel like by this point, making Hatchet 2, he's fixed a lot of those, and the whole movie just feels cleaner. And then it goes to where it needs to go. It kind of uses the most graphic, awesome kill from the first one as the bar, and tries to one up it, which is exactly what a slasher sequel needs to do. And they actually got people that can act, which is, I know, crazy, but
It's insane.
yeah, I know, but it's so much fun, and it's not taking itself seriously, and yet it is trying to be a legitimate film in so much as the cinematography is better, the acting is better. There's an actual score. That's one of the things I hate about the first one is it's like that 1990s score in a box.
Yeah.
And if the whole thing looks like it was shot on videotape, it's just like, but this one fixes all of those problems, and I was like, all right, now that you fixed all that, I'm on board with the story.
Well, the original, that was his first feature film, right?
Right, yeah.
Okay, and then Frozen, which I like considerably better than Hatchet, I still went, okay, this has problems, but it's I feel like I'm watching a filmmaker really learn from his mistakes. So
Right.
it's glad to hear it seems like, that has continued
It's
to what
demonstration
makes...
of further growth, I think.
Yeah, I really look forward to seeing that more now so than I would have otherwise.
Good luck.
And it doesn't fall into the
Yeah.
usual trap of sequels that are just remakes of the first movie.
It doesn't feel like a remake of the first movie. It literally picks up where the first one left off, like that same night. But in that way, it feels like a continuation of that story, and it's not the same story. It's not another boat full of tourists that just happen into there's a plot, there's a direction and a drive to these characters to go back there.
Yeah.
And it's almost a revenge film. But
okay.
it's really, really cool. I like the way it was done a lot.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's pretty much, it had like a week in theaters, and I don't really know what the story is there.
Has it come and gone already?
Yeah, but it had a real...
the first
It got yanked.
Yeah.
It was going to be one of the first unrated horror films to be released in theaters in 25 years. They were all excited about it. AMC actually took a bold step and said, you know what, we'll show it unrated. Everybody was real excited, and then the MPA... I will say I don't have all the facts. I don't want to start any hatred toward the MPAA, even though I think they suck. There was something where they were pressuring AMC. They wanted to come down on it. They had some problem with it, and AMC buckled. I mean, it's a
That's
situation
what
where it's AMC's not totally to blame, and the MPAA could have been thwarted. But it's just they buckled and it got pulled.
Because I know there's some controversy there. Some people are saying it has nothing to do with that. It's because it wasn't making any money.
They pulled it on Saturday morning. It didn't have a chance to make money.
Wow,
Fair
Saturday
enough.
morning.
Well,
Yeah.
to be fair, there were no commercials for it either. No one
true.
even knew it was playing. How are you supposed to go see a film when there's
Well,
no
and
advertising?
they were trying to keep that it was very weird. They were in support of it in so much that they would show it, but they didn't want anybody talking about it. It's almost like one of those things that they were hoping they could get away with and nobody would notice.
Yeah, it's like...
And I think it got just enough notice that they were like, uh-oh. And then somebody turned and looked at them and they shoved it behind their back like, we're not doing anything.
Yeah, it's 1:50 a.m. at the bar. Most of your friends are gone, and you're pretty sure you can make it out the front door with the fat chick without anybody noticing.
Boom.
I get it.
AMC
What?
was the fetch.
Oh, okay.
We'll talk...
I don't want you writing any of my press releases. That's all I'm saying.
I usually don't just come up with them and write them down right away. I would give you a little more credit than that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd be like, it was a hot fat chick. It's one of those ones. She made it work.
Again.
Anyway, here's a movie that Leon saw. I didn't. I don't know if you did or not, Brian, but it was an anime film called Red Line. And I know a lot of people were actually pretty excited about seeing this one. I was not one of them. Yes. Come on, you go ahead and let it fly,
'cause
people
it's
out
anime.
there, because it's anime. There are certain types of anime I really love. And there's certain types that I just don't get into that much. And this looked like one of the ones that wasn't going to be for me. But what is this about?
I actually don't know.
But you saw it.
I did see it.
And you still don't know what it was
I'm
about?
I'm not sure. Okay, best as I can tell you is it's kind of take off a Speed Racer where there's this ultimate race where you race around the planet Robo.
The planet's called Robo?
Yeah, or Robo World. I think it's called Robo World.
Okay. That's really lame.
Yeah, hey dude, you gotta cut me some slack. I saw this a week ago. Yeah, they show up in their souped up cars. The main character has a history with one of the female drivers. And while they're driving, there's some evil guy who's trying to kill them. And it goes into everybody's past. And honestly, I couldn't for the life of me figure out what anybody's motivation was throughout this entire movie.
Yeah.
In an anime? That's weird.
Yeah, I know. It picks weird times to go into history. The girl's car, it turns into... Wait, she has a partner, and they form together. Like the car transforms into a female robot, where her and her friend are in the bubble that are the tits of the robot.
Are you serious?
Yes. You think I would sit here and make this up?
The sad thing is there are fans of ours who are listening to this right now and saying, sounds great, like totally like my type of thing. And I don't get you, people.
Seriously, like looking in the Fantastic Fest catalog, it had one cell of art from it that just had a Sid Mead look to it, and I was like, wow, this looks really cool. I was thinking Fast and the Furious, something with cars. I haven't gone to see anime. It just made me think of back when the Dolby Mall used to have just like rare anime movies where you couldn't see them all the time, and I'd go at midnight and catch something, and it'd be really cool.
Yeah, I'd do
going
that
to the
too.
Arbor to see Perfect Blue, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
and I was just really wanting to recapture that. And ran into people that ran into co-hosts there, and and a bunch of people, old fans, and just sat down all excited to see it. And the minute it starts, I'm like, wow, I really don't like this art style at all. Because the guy, I was hearing about somebody say it's the guy who did Ninja Scroll. And I love Ninja Scroll.
Yeah, Ninja Scroll's one of the classics.
But I didn't care for this art style. But art, besides itself, the story just meanders. It goes on. I think it was over 2 hours. I mean, I ended up walking out of it before it got done, to be honest. Because there's just a point where after 2 hours of sitting there, or nearly 2 hours, and 45 minutes, I was like, I have no idea where this is going to end, and no matter where it goes, I'm not going to be happy because I'm just upset that I wasted all this time.
Shit.
It's past 2 a.m, and I just don't care about any of it.
You know, it seems like if we're lucky, one anime film comes out a year that really makes me go, wow, this is worth going to see in the theater. But hey, that's me. I know that the fans have a very different feeling about that sort of thing.
I had been under the impression that I didn't like anime anymore because I just kind of outgrown it, or just had seen so much, and there was a point where it was repeating and not doing anything new for me. But now the more I talk to people, they're telling me, even if they're fans, they're going like, no, it's just that now 90% of it is crap.
Well, so you're not wrong.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. Anyway, moving on. One of the movies, I don't know if you saw I Saw the Devil or not. Did you get to see that?
I didn't, but people couldn't shut up about it.
Brian, how about you?
I'm going to not shut up about it. I loved that movie. It is possibly my favorite film of the whole festival.
I heard a lot of people saying that.
It's pretty amazing. It really is. And it's not for those who are going in that have any sort of a weakness towards like get sensitive to explicit violence, because this is really explicitly violent.
Yeah.
And not in the sense of like the way a torture porn film is or something like that. I mean, a lot of it is implied, even, that's just so incredibly horrible.
A lot of it is
lot's
agonizingly beautiful violence, and
Yeah.
that's what kills me about it. Is it's shot so exquisitely well, and you're seeing these horribly brutal acts of one person just doing these terrible things to another, and yet you can't take your eyes off of it because of how well it's shot. And that's one of the things that I think Korea does so well with these crime thrillers.
Absolutely
is that
agree.
they give this strangely beautiful treatment to violence, and it's impossible not to watch it.
And this is by one of the guys who was a superstar at Fantastic Fest like 2 years ago or 1 year ago, with The Good, the Bad, and the Weird.
I believe that was. It may have been
Actually,
2 years ago. It was 2 years ago.
Okay, 2 years ago, and it's Kim Ji-woon, and he's quickly becoming one of the big names. He's had a whole series of films, like A Tale of Two Sisters. It's a pretty famous.
That's not a porno?
No, it probably is as well, under the same name, but no. And A Bittersweet Life are both really well responded to.
Bittersweet
films.
Life is a great film.
And this guy just seems to be getting, if not better, he's definitely on a roll at the very least. And this one follows, basically, not even basically, he's like a cop, but he's kind of like he's a top cop, which doesn't mean he's going to go around doing martial arts. He's not Jackie Chan in Police Story. He's a badass. He's probably like Black Ops type of cop. And his fiancée gets abducted and really badly murdered. Like, not even casually, okay, stab, you're dead, but like, let's draw this out for a while.
Does she get raped?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, because I was like, there's no Korean movies where the girls don't get raped.
Well, it's more Japanese movies with the rape.
What I saw during Fantastic Fest was anything with Asian people that was raping.
Well, we'll get back to those.
We'll get back to
movies.
that, yeah.
But there's not the rape isn't really very graphic compared to everything else.
Okay.
Here. And so basically, his girlfriend is killed, and he's like, hey, you know what? I think I'm going to take a couple weeks off work to get better. And he immediately puts his top cop skills to use and gets himself a list of the top list of people who they think it probably is, the suspects. And he just goes in Charles Bronson style, one at a time, just like beating the living holy hell out of them till he finds out whether or not, whether he's satisfied, whether or not it's them, until he narrows it down.
What if you're not the guy?
He doesn't care.
Well, I don't know what Miranda rights are like in Korea, but even if there's some semblance of that, he throws that right out the fucking window.
Yeah, he's not doing this as a cop. He took 2 weeks off. He's like, I don't care. I'm going to find the guy who did this, and I'm going to do horrible things to him. And I don't care.
I
It's
suppose
amazing.
over there would be Miranda rights.
And these guys who they've got are on the list of suspects because they've been called in for shit like this. They've been arrested for sex crimes.
So it's like,
They're-
okay, if you didn't do this one, you did something
they're
else.
scumbags,
Yeah.
and you're not necessarily rooting for this hero on that level to do that, but you're kind of like, okay, let's hurry up and find the guy. And the guy is in fact the actor who played Old Boy in the classic
Sure.
film that probably, if anybody's seen one Korean film, that's probably the one they've seen. And he is truly sick. He is fucked up, and our hero is not going to be satisfied with just killing him.
No, it really turns the table on the whole cat and mouse serial killer cop routine, because I mean, as much violence and as much brutality as the killer enacts on people, he's getting it tenfold from this cop.
Yeah.
And every time he thinks the cop's going to kill him, he lets him go just so he can do it again. It's ridiculous, but also amazing because it's something so unique and something you don't typically see in this kind of story.
It feels like if it was an American film, that there would be no subtext at all. It would just be,
No.
that would be enough. And it probably would be entertaining to watch as of that. But this director isn't satisfied with that. He has a lot to say about these characters, and the hero isn't really a hero. I mean, he's
Yeah.
fucked up. He has been destroyed inside by what happened to him, and it becomes clear as this little game of his goes on that he's probably just as fucked up as this other guy is in a lot of ways.
He just happened to get a badge.
He just has
Well, and it's funny.
yeah.
This feels like the estranged sibling of the Vengeance trilogy.
It does, absolutely.
It really feels like a Park Chan-wook film, and I love that about it. And that's not to take anything away from the actual director, because obviously, The Good, the Bad, and the Weird is a sensational movie, and I think he just knocks it out of the park with this.
Yeah, he's going to be one of those guys like Chan-wook that I will watch anything he does at
Absolutely.
this point. And you're right, this might very well be the best film of the festival, at least that I saw, which, as I said, was not an extended list. Another one that I did get to see that everyone was raving about, and I'm still a little confused as to why they were this excited about it, was Rubber. It's one of those films that I see what they were doing.
This is what the Killer Tire,
Yeah,
right?
it's a French film, but done with American actors, speaking English.
Like who?
Well, not very many famous people like Jack Plotnick, Wings Hauser.
Okay, Wings Hauser, I know.
Yeah, but it's not an action film or anything like that. He's just sitting in a chair the whole movie.
He's
you know?
old now.
He's very old
Well,
now.
and in fact, his character's in a wheelchair.
yeah, his character's in a wheelchair. Well, I
Does that
thought he
say
actually stands up at one point.
Does that say David Bowie's
Pretty
in
sure
it?
he's in a wheelchair.
No, it's David Bowie. I got confused about that
David
too.
Bowie.
Yeah, I know. And then there's Ethan Coen. I was like, oh, Ethan Coen is in this dude? No, it's
No,
Ethan
that's him.
Coen. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a moment there. I was like, what's going on? But this is one of these films that's like the very definition. It probably should be in the encyclopedia with the little picture of it under like meta, because it's to the level that is not really funny anymore. It's like self-aware about being self-aware. And you almost have to do something like that because it's a story about an old rubber tire that suddenly comes to life, has telekinetic powers like scanners. He's basically a scanner from that old David Cronenberg film, and is making like animals and people's heads explode no reason.
Would it be nitpicking if I pointed out that a tire doesn't have a brain?
Yeah, well, this is the type of
Yes.
thing that there's no point, because the movie starts off by telling you that you're wrong if you look for a reason. Literally. Very, very verbally and literally, because the audience, the audience, are in the film, at least, in theory, with a bunch of people who are standing out in the desert with binoculars and sitting in chairs watching all this outplay and are commenting on the events of it. Whereas the characters in the film are trying to kill the audience so they don't have to keep making this stupid film.
Oh.
What I really like about this film is it is an experiment in absurdism, and I'm a big fan of absurd humor. But I like the fact that it's not just relying on its gimmick, because you hear movie about a killer tire, and the first thing you think of is, how the fuck are they going to make that last for 90 minutes? How are they going to sustain that gimmick? And the way they do that is they really do this weird deconstruction of the fourth wall and absurdism in general. And I honestly think that the reason this works and the reason I like it so much is that there's more going on than just the gimmick, and it's really, really clever. And it reminds me of Larry Blymeyer, who is a director I really like, who did a movie called The Lost Skeleton of Cadavra, which is just a ridiculous take on 50s sci-fi, and it's all absurd humor. And in fact, the opening where the guy's telling you all this, like, he's giving his no reason speech, reminds me of something from Lost Skeleton.
See, I've seen that, and I'm not a fan of that guy. So maybe that's the difference here. Now, I actually did like Rubber. I genuinely did, but people were talking about it like it was some great find, and I just didn't think it was. I saw what they were doing completely. It just wasn't that funny to me. And you know, I was like, at first I was like, oh, here's how they're going to keep the story that could not sustain an hour and a half of film about a psychic killer tire. Here's how they're going to keep it interesting. And it was really interesting for the first 30 minutes or so of it. But then it just kind of, okay, well, I've kind of seen where this has to go, and it's not really going anywhere else other than that. So.
Well, I mean, it is just a prequel, so hopefully the actual Michelin Man movie will be phenomenal.
It's a movie about a tire, but it has no legs.
Ooh, nice one.
Huh?
Put it on the poster.
One of the movies I saw that I don't know if either one of you guys saw that I really enjoyed and I didn't hear anybody talking about on the whole was called Fatso. And it was a weird little comedy.
I wanted to see that, although I heard like, oh, it's just let's laugh at fat people for an hour and a half.
Not really. I mean,
it looks like a Daniel Close comic.
Yeah, it kind of felt like that kind of thing because it's like intensely like humble about, like, it feels like it's from somebody who's basing this lead character on the worst period of his own life, and he's just blatantly honest about how pathetic he thought his own life was. He wasn't really all that pathetic. It's this guy coming to terms with the fact that, yeah, he's fat, but that doesn't make him this complete loser just because of that. Maybe if he just stopped jerking off all day, every single day, that would help.
Wait, does
you bite your tongue.
Yeah, does jerking off all day make you a loser?
It does for this guy. He's like.
But I'm cool.
Yeah, you're not jerking off right now.
I think it's
what you
it's
think.
fitting to say right now that I love being a writer on the internet. I mean, that lifestyle is not that it has anything to do with what we were just talking about.
No, not at all. Not, because I mean, in theory, sure, if you were the type of person to do that, you could masturbate whenever you felt like it. You're just like, the wife's at work. What? Anyway,
just put your pants back on, dude.
Shit, I keep doing that.
Yeah.
So this guy he's not a pretty guy. Even if he wasn't fat, he wouldn't be real good looking. And he's got the world's worst friend, this annoying guy who looks like he's stuck in the 70s Olivia Newton-John Let's Get Physical video.
But this is like from Norway, or
yes. I believe Norway.
So how could you
Norway.
tell that it's stuck in the 70s?
I mean, his whole look is like, he's got like
country stuck in the
giant
70s,
white boy afro, like giant. He's always
Right,
wearing a sweatband around his head and like
Sure.
workout shorts
no,
that are
but I'm
too
saying,
tight.
I mean, that's how do you distinguish him from everybody else in the country?
Oh, good point. Yeah, they're all
Yeah,
singing
in Norway,
ABBA.
that's a la mode right there.
Yeah, maybe that was just it. But so he lives in this house by himself, but the house used to belong to his grandparents. His dad died, and one day his dad shows up and says, look, we need money, so we rented out one of the rooms in the house. Sorry, you're going to have a roommate. And here she is. And she's this uber hottie who's like coming into the house, which, could be the beginning of many different types of films.
Sure.
And he is, you would think that maybe he would be thrilled, but no, because he doesn't know how to talk to women. They fucking terrify him.
Yeah,
And
I would think for him that'd be a nightmare.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is because he's decided it is. And he goes around this just treating her like an unwelcome guest. And she herself, I mean, she's genuinely nice, but she's also shallow. I mean, she's just a blonde teeny bopper chick,
Sure.
She doesn't know. She's like, I love everybody. People are wonderful. But when it comes right down to it, was that point where she's like torturing him to the point of like, crying himself to sleep every night because she's walking around in just her underwear and go, would you mind if I slept in here with you tonight? I'm really depressed. Ew, don't touch me. What, you think I'd like you? You're pretty much ready for her to die. We all know these
Oh, no,
girls.
sorry. It's not like you bring a lot of yourself into
No,
this.
that's exactly what
think I
happens.
know that girl.
This is dialogue from the movie. This isn't me putting something on this.
Oh, okay.
This is what happens in the film.
Okay.
Yeah, make no mistake. Now, what makes this interesting is that he makes a pretty big life-changing decision right at that point. For one thing that
Wait,
everyone was talking about.
Is he going to kill her or start working out?
No, something you are not going to
Those
see
are your only
coming
options
all.
at that point
But
in
it
a lot of
one-
relationships.
It was one of the things everybody was talking about at the fest. Like, oh man, I can't believe you watch this comedy only to have that happen. But I thought it was funny, and the animation, because he's like his one like hidden talent is that he writes these anthropomorphized comics where like, you know, about bunnies and bears and stuff, except it's just like you were talking about earlier, it's all autobiographical, you know, like really honestly grimly biographical with lots of sex and stuff, and they animate a lot of that, and it's actually pretty fucking funny. And it's all, I mean, this is hard R sex comedy stuff.
Damn, you got me dying to see this.
I liked it a lot. I genuinely did. I mean, hell, I couldn't even watch this one on the big screen. I had to sit there and watch it on the little monitor in the press station, which you'd think, like, you know, it's got to be pretty entertaining and keep your attention. I'm sitting on a hard wooden stool watching this thing, and I had no interest in leaving till it was over. I thought it was really entertaining as hell. I mean, it's not, maybe some people didn't like it there because it's not strictly speaking a genre film at all, and they were like, well, we were waiting for something fantastic.
I did hear a lot of grumbling this year about, there were a couple of comedies that played, and I'm just not opposed to that idea.
Yeah, me neither.
Well, that's the thing. I felt like there wasn't enough. I was talking to Corey. I was like, God, I wish they'd mix it up a little bit. You know, a few more things to not pound those genres into you so much to where they all kind of blend together.
Yeah. No, I think that's a great idea that they do that. They just need to be honest about what they are, and I felt like some of the advanced preview stuff was kind of dancing around these films not being genre films.
Well, I mean, look at what was the opening night film 2 years ago. It was Zack and Mary Make a Porno.
Yeah. Which
wasn't a ninja movie. It wasn't a vampire movie. It was Zack and Mary Make a Porno.
Yeah.
It was a comedy.
That's Kevin Smith.
Kevin Smith film, yeah. Lots of geek references, so what are you going to do? And it wasn't that good.
Speaking of fatzos.
You know what? One of the movies that you wouldn't shut up about, Leon, was The Housemaid, which was
true.
You had to watch twice.
Well, I went to, like, the one day I got to spend there was Sunday, so I went early for the screening of Red, White, and Blue and put me in my bid for tickets. And the only tickets I got were for the original Housemaid from 1960 and then the reimagining from 2010. And the 60s movies, black and white, which, you know, sitting there watching, I was like, man, I really do love black and white movies. I don't watch enough of these. It's a big deal about the fact that they restored it, you know, and it looks great because there's a couple scenes in there where you see they couldn't restore it, and to see what kind of quality it was at, they did a great job of that. And both of these movies, they really summed up a lot of what I saw during the festival, where they were actually engaging thrillers in their own way. I mean, like the original Housemaid is about a music teacher at a girls' school, and a couple of the girls have a crush on him. One gives him a love letter. He immediately reports her, and she's kicked out of school, where she later dies from a broken heart. They just say she gets sick. They don't even tell you what it is. But he feels bad, and he becomes friends with the other girl, and he's telling her, like, oh, my wife's pregnant. We need a maid. And she said, oh, I got a friend. And the friend that you could tell is crazy the minute she gets there. She's just kind of off.
She's, what, singing a Tori Amos song or something?
Practically. She's just the way she's looking around.
I believe the psych textbooks describe that as cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Yeah. But like the other girl he's become friends with, once that other girl dies, she eventually confesses, like, look, it was actually my note. She was the one who gave it to you. I'm in love with you. And he slaps her around. He's like, get the fuck out of here. I'm not going to have nothing to do with you. Well, if you don't, I'm going to tell everybody that you raped me. Oh, yeah? And he just holds her over the balcony like he's going to toss her off. Like, now, I could kill you right now. Now, go ahead and leave and come back for your lesson tomorrow.
What could go wrong from there?
Her friend, her crazy friend who's there, who you, like, forget she's even in the movie, goes like, hey, I saw you almost kill my friend. Now you got to have sex with me because I'm in love with you, too.
What?
It's like, this poor bastard couldn't win. And she just, like, disrobes in front of him. He's trying to throw her out, but he ends up grabbing her tit by mistake, and they just have sex. And from there, she lives in the house and just continues to blackmail him. And to the point to where the wife finds out, and she
don't spoil too much.
No, I'm not going to spoil too much. It's just a bunch of things where it's like a psychological drama that just keeps amping it up to where I was with it until suddenly it goes way off the rails.
Yeah.
Just so far off, you're like, oh, wait. Oh, come on. Don't ruin this. and it does something in the end that I've never seen a movie do before that took me completely by surprise, and I won't. I don't know. I feel like I should spoil it.
No, don't do it.
But I won't. So then you get to the reimagining, and
you literally saw these back to back.
Back to
right?
back, yes.
Wow.
Yes,
I can't
I did.
believe you scheduled that.
Well, they scheduled it.
Well, I know. I just knowing you, I'm surprised you were like, yeah, I'll sit and watch both.
Well,
these
my
back-to-back.
thinking was, you know what? If I like the original one, I'm be very curious to watch the other one to see what they do with it and how they change it. Now the new one, it is beautiful. You know, Brian, you brought that up. It the way it's shot, I did like that. And like the acting, I was really into the story. This time, it's a girl who's very sweet, living with a rich couple, and the husband just immediately comes in and seduces her and takes off, and she gets pregnant. And then the rest of the movie is about how the already pregnant wife and the mother-in-law are trying to make her have an abortion or kill her. And it's just a real kind of it's fucked up, but you're following it, and it's riveting. And then it ends in a way where I was like, wow, you just really just didn't want me to like this.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Korean characters in the title, and I'm like, well, it's nice that they called it The House Made for American Audiences, but clearly what it says is bitches be crazy.
yeah, you can see that. I mean, it's just one of those where when it comes time for the big revenge, what it does, I'm like, wait, what? And the last shot of the movie just makes no sense at all. It just betrays everything that came before it.
So you would say both of them are a skip?
You know what? It's like if there's some way you can watch them up until the last 15 minutes and then pull yourself away, then I'd say go for it. like just get to that point, find out the running time, back it off 15 minutes, and just tell yourself you're going to turn it off and make up your own ending.
Wow. Wow.
That's how my mom used to make us watch Old Yeller.
One of the big films this year everybody's talking about is Ip Man 2. Now, I'm in the sad position of not having seen Ip Man 1.
That is a sad position.
I'm a big Donnie Yen fan. I mean, back before anybody knew who he was, I was a big Donnie Yen fan, 15 years ago. And this is like, I mean, God, he's got to be in his late 40s by now or something. But this is like his kind of like finally my everyone's paying attention to me martial arts series. And it's a period piece as well, of course, both this Ip Man and its sequel. Now, I'm looking.
Does this mean you get the guys in the long white beards?
Well, you get the guys in the long black dresses.
Okay.
Who do that thing where they're about to do martial arts, so they reach down and they swipe their little skirt to the side thing. You know, that familiar move. But this is this character who it's based on is a master of Wing Chun martial arts style.
Everybody Wing Chun tonight.
Yeah. That would have been made for a much better music video, by the way.
Right.
But I haven't seen this, so can you tell us a little bit about this?
I love the original Ip Man. It is not. It's funny because you talk about martial arts films, and there is sort of an expectation there, but honestly, the first Ip Man is as good a drama as it is a martial arts film. It tells a very riveting story, and Donnie Yen really gives an outstanding performance in the movie. That being said, he beats the ever-living shit out of people in a way that is spectacular to watch, and I loved it. I loved everything. I loved every frame of that first Ip Man movie, and then I saw this one.
Uh-oh.
And if you go into it not knowing anything about it, I honestly think, Cyrus, that you should see Ip Man 2 and then go see Ip Man 1. I know it sounds ridiculous, but you will create for yourself an expectation seeing the first one and then watching the sequel, because I imagine what you'll do is you'll try to watch them back to back. I mean, you'll probably import both of them, which you should do because they look great on Blu-ray. But if you watch the second one first, it paints a completely different picture of what these movies are. It's literally, and I wish people hadn't been saying this because it sounds like it's just, fashionable, but it really is Rocky 4.
Oh.
Beat for beat, plot point for plot point, Ip Man 2 is Rocky 4.
Cyrus hates Rocky 4.
No, I don't hate it. It's just the worst of the Rocky films to me.
Then you will
I like all the Rocky films.
Replace Dolph Lundgren with a giant sweaty British boxer.
Yeah.
Ip Man 2.
But is it all montages?
There's a lot of montages. I really wish I don't want to spoil it, but I really wish I could take you plot point for plot point and go, okay, here's where this happened in Rocky 4 where it happens in Ip Man 2. Here's where this happened in Rocky 4 where it happens in Ip Man. And I don't get it. Like, it's still entertaining in a very silly way, and in a way that most, I don't want to say most, but a goodly portion of martial arts films that I watch are entertaining in a silly way. But it's so not in the spirit of the original.
Okay, martial arts films should have a maximum of 2 montages. One, when they're training to be a badass, which is totally allowed and, in fact, expected.
Right.
And then maybe one, just maybe one, if, like, when they're retraining after they get
there's
their
always
ass
the retraining.
beaten almost to
they
death.
Go out into the woods and retrain.
Yeah, because they were good, but now they need to be better.
And it's funny. I hope we get to it pretty soon, but like, as much as Fantastic Fest gadfly as Donnie Yen was this year, having 3 different movies here, I honestly think the better sequel to Ip Man is Legend of the Fist.
Really? Okay. No, I know.
Yeah.
I thought it was the other one people were talking about. What was the other one he was in?
14 Blades.
14 Blades. I thought that was the one people
Let
were
me.
thinking about.
Well, I kind of need to, because I was confused about this, because there's so much in Legend of the Fist that seems Ip Man-ish, and you're like, wait a minute, I thought this was a sequel to Fist of Fury. So I did some research.
Wait, sequel to Bruce Lee's Fist of Fury?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I did some research. Basically, there was a real person named, or who was the Ip Man, who trained Bruce Lee.
Yes.
And from there came this fictional account of Ip Man that got renamed as Chen Zhen.
Right.
And he's the one in the first time he appeared was in Fist of Fury, starring Bruce Lee, whose teacher was Ip Man. So you can kind of see where this is starting to divulge a little bit, but basically Donnie Yen is playing the same character.
It's funny the way that like Chinese martial arts films, I mean the Chinese culture and their storytelling is all about taking real historical people and blowing them up to like their own Robin Hoods or King Arthurs, even if they're just like, you know, not even dead yet.
Yeah. Right.
You know, like taking their stories and exaggerating them to the point of insanity. Like I forget the name of the guy right now. He's the guy who like Fist of Legend is based on, Drunken Master 2 is based on, like so many movies I can't believe I can't remember the guy right now, the real historical guy, but he holds the record for the most amount of movies about any one character, and there's like hundreds about him and from China. You know, of like every Once Upon a Time in China series are all
Okay.
about him.
Okay.
You know, it's like Jesus Christ.
Well, I mean,
and
that's
he
the
was a
thing.
guy who was still alive up until like the 70s or something.
And Chen Zhen didn't appear until Fist of Fury. We're talking like 1972.
yeah.
It's like you're talking about somebody that became a legend between the end of World War II or the middle of World War II to the 70s, had become a legend.
Yeah.
Like had gone from somebody of historical relevance to a legend that got his own movies with alternate name. I'm like, why didn't they just let him keep his
Now,
name?
are you guys referring to Chinese Connection, Fist of Fury, or Fist of Fury, Fist of Fury?
But
Fist
you
of
know,
Fury,
it
Fist of
depends.
Fury.
Yeah, it
Okay.
depends on where they were released because they change the names around depending on where the films
Right.
are distributed. So it's never entirely clear.
Well, so knowing that, Legend of the Fist is the badass sequel to the Ip Man that Ip Man 2 should have been.
Wow. Okay.
It opens with the Ip Man character Chen Zhen in World War I, basically on a suicide squad. And their job, the Chinese involvement against the Germans was basically, well, you're Chinese, you're expendable, go carry ammunition to the front line. So he's in this team of guys that just walks through the front lines, guns blazing all around them, bullets flying, to deliver ammunition. It is a suicide squad if there ever was one. And then all of a sudden, it just becomes Saving Private Donnie Yen. And he fucking lights up the Germans and basically wins the war single-handedly, and then that's where the movie starts. But I swear to God,
That's like the first 20 seconds.
the first 10 minutes of this movie, I could not take my eyes off the screen, and I could not stop screaming. Like, I was like, holy shit, that was awesome!
Okay, wow, I had no idea. This is definitely going on my must-see list.
You have to, like, this movie is my second favorite movie of the whole festival.
Wow.
Like, hands down.
I had no idea. Well, I guess let's keep for just right now with the martial arts theme and I guess talk about that 14 Blades, since that's the other Donnie Yen one and one of the ones that was getting more marketing than this other one was. So what's the deal with this one? This is not about that same character.
It's just, maybe it's just me, but I'm not a big fan of the period martial arts films or the neo
Medieval
samurai
period.
medieval
Yeah.
martial arts films. It's just not my cup of tea. I wasn't the biggest fan of Hero. I don't know. It's just not my thing. But what I will say is that even among those, this one's really messy.
Huh. What do
The-
they call
the-
them? Wuxiu, I think, isn't what they call
I
them?
think I think that's the
films?
appropriate term for it. I just call it boring. And honestly, this one is one of the worst, just because it just goes off in all these different. Like the first few minutes, you're like really on board because it feels like an in-your-face Donnie Yen movie that's just set in a different period of time. You're like, all right, this is cool. And then it just starts going off in all these different directions. You never understand who's betraying who and why. The story it's not cohesive. They introduce this character that I swear to God, if you look at the poster, they've just blatantly ripped off Jack Sparrow and dropped him into feudal China. Wow. It's ridiculous. Like the movie makes no sense. And honestly, after the first few minutes, the fight sequences aren't even that good.
Is this wire work type of thing as opposed to...
It's a lot of wire work, and I would be okay with that if it looked good, but I think it's very muddled.
See, I like a Wuxia film. I mean, like Crouching Tiger is one of my favorite movies. I love Hero, but I've seen so many films of that style that are incredibly tedious and just like, okay, you're going to have to offer us something new. already, you know, and I feel like that style is almost kind of done at this point. What with those other films you were talking about, though, the other two Donnie Yen films, were those wire work oriented as well, though? Or were they more, they used it sparingly?
It's funny. They Legend of the Fist definitely used it sparingly. Ip Man 2 uses it quite a bit, which is even more disappointing because the first one really didn't use... I can't think of one scene in the first one that feels wiry. And so, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of wire work kind of in the trio, but I think in Legend of the Fist is where it feels less present.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, well, I want to talk about one of my favorite films I got to see during this, which was called Rare Exports, A Christmas Tale. And I had a feeling, Brian, that this was going to be the ones that you were going to really like as well. I adored this film, and I really, even though I was hearing people say, no, you have to see this, it is really good, I went into it going, yeah, I'm not sure I'm going to feel the same way about this as everyone else. This looks kind of stupid. It's a Finnish movie. And
well, yeah, of course it's finished. They showed it at the festival. If it was unfinished with the effects not there, why would they show it?
It's from Finishland.
Oh, Finishland. Yeah.
And it's about a bunch of people. It's like, I guess it's modern day. I mean, it seems it's close enough.
It's as modern day as Finland could produce.
As they can be at this point. Yeah, they just got roads, so so it's this family that's living out there, or this small village, and there's this big mountain near there, and there's this scientific team. They're doing something up there. They're digging and setting off explosions. And what it turns out, I was never entirely clear if this is precisely what they were looking for or what, but they unearthed Santa Claus. Now, Santa Claus is not a jolly old man here in a red suit. Santa Claus is a big fucking demon from hell that likes to eat children. And so this isn't another one of those Santa's Sleigh and Black Christmas and those type of things.
Jack Frost.
Yeah, no, it's like a mythological horror comedy that's almost suitable for all ages if it wasn't for all the old man penis.
There's a lot of old man dong in this movie.
There's a lot of it.
But no, you're right. That's what makes it so good. It makes it not exploitation, is that they're drawing their inspiration on actual mythologies from all over the world. I mean, if you go back and actually do some research on Santa Claus and the myth and where it came from in all these cultures, every culture has some figure like Santa Claus.
True.
And all of their origins are so fucked up.
Yeah, they didn't all start at the pleasant level they're at now. They all came from bloodier versions
like
of these
swamp
stories.
demons and Black Peter.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
all
whole
these things are just
concept
horrifying.
of naughty and nice lists, which is pretty common across them all, started from the whole, like, he's coming to punish the naughty more than anything else.
Yeah, it's not so much rewarding the nice as it is beating the hell out of the naughty.
Yeah, doing pretty horrible shit to them. And so these people are running around this town saying, okay, something's going on. Animals are turning up dead. Like all these elk are showing up, or reindeer, I guess.
Does
are showing
Santa
up dead.
kill the science team that finds him?
Well, we're not entirely sure at first what's going on.
Okay.
And I don't want to be too clear about who Santa is and what role he plays in the movie, because that's kind of as we get towards the end. But there's lots of these old naked men running around who look like, except for not being fat, like they could be like the right Santa Claus age. They got long white beards, except they're totally naked, and they kill anything that gets near them, pretty much.
Oh.
And they're abducting all the children in the town. And I don't know what to tell you. It's really fun. This is it's a
Really?
It's so
really
weird.
is.
It's hard. It's a hard movie to describe.
Child abduction by old pedophiles.
It's weird because
and
it's like
fun.
no, it's weird. It's like
the whole family.
It's like a fairy tale with sort of like a 70s television cartoon sensibility to it in a weird.
Well,
sort
it's
of
funny,
way.
and this kind of leads to what I really liked about it is when you describe it that way, like child abduction and evil old men and all this stuff. It's like, I can think of another movie where I could describe it as there's a TV that reaches out and eats a girl, and a guy rips his face off, and a tree tries to strangle a kid. It's Poltergeist.
Yeah.
This feels like an Amblin film for exactly that
Sure.
reason. It feels, because a lot of it is told from the child's perspective, and it has kind of this warm-hearted treatment, even though it's dealing with these really just unhappy topics.
Yeah, or that movie, that kids movie about that whole family of kids are about to be put out on the street because, they can't afford to pay the rent anymore. And so they decide to go looking for treasure, except it turns out it's being unwittingly guarded by a bunch of completely murderous thugs who kidnaps one of them, puts him in the basement with a inbred monster. Oh yeah, Goonies is what that's
Boom!
called.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Goonies.
Goonies, yeah.
See, that's what I'm saying. Anything can sound much worse than it is when you're just describing it on the outset. Like it. This is actually really charming. It's like you watch, you're like, wow. And quite literally, if it wasn't for the naked old men penises, of which there are probably about 50 or 60,
They're plentiful.
then you could show this. Like this would be like PG, and in a very charming, funny sort of way.
And one of the things that makes it so charming is near the end, the little kid just becomes. He reminds me of. Did you ever see the movie Son of Rambo?
Yes,
Yes.
love that movie.
He reminds me of the little kid from Son of Rambo who just desperately wants to be an action hero.
Yeah.
Toward the end of the movie, he's just spitting off these one-liners and these taglines, and you're just like, "Oh, dude, this is amazing."
Yeah, they sell it. It feels like another film would have totally stumbled over that, but here they really do. It just makes you want to go, "Aw, it's so cute!" And what a great ending! The very ending is just like you want to stand up and applaud.
Oh, it's
You're like,
perfect.
"Wow, you couldn't have nailed that any harder if you tried."
It did get distribution, by the way, so you should definitely pick it up when it comes out.
I'm glad to hear that.
I will.
Now, one of the films I guess this is being distributed by Tim League himself, is Red, White, and Blue. If I'm not mistaken, League's new production company is produced.
His name is all over
I
it.
haven't. I know he produced it.
But is he not picking up for his DVD?
I
or
don't
his
know. The
theatrical
only one
releases?
that I've heard for sure is Four Lions. Four Lions is the first. Alamo Drafthouse is getting its own distribution company called Drafthouse Films. The only one that I know of for sure that's coming out is Four Lions, which was a big hit at South by. I haven't heard. Like, I don't want to say one way or the other because I don't know, but it would make sense, I guess.
Well, I mean, yeah, I would imagine if this doesn't get picked up, that would not be surprising. I'll see they did, but I didn't. This is one of these ones that IFC said, "Don't worry, we're sending you a screener." Okay, the festival's over, and I still don't have the screener, and I skipped this film because you said you were sending me a screener. Are you still sending the screener? You know what? I was at the festival. I haven't got a chance. I'll send it to you right away. Okay, it's been a week now. Still don't have a screener. Really? Anyway, I still haven't seen this
Did I
on
do
review
that?
day, but I think both of you guys did, right?
I actually haven't.
Oh, you didn't see it? Okay, but you saw this.
Yeah,
right?
I saw it.
Okay, well, why don't
It
you
was
talk a
actually
little bit?
the first movie of the festival I saw.
Why don't you talk a little bit about it?
Well, it's a movie that's kind of just like a quirky little indie drama about. It opens with a chick, young chick who's a barfly, just picking up guys at bars in different places she goes and fucking. She just fucks every guy, every place she goes. She gets a new job. She finds one guy to fuck, and she is a very realistic.
Wait, why haven't I seen this movie?
What bar?
Well, here's the thing. When you see this girl, they picked the right actress because she has that kind of skanky look about her that looks like just a regular chick that you might see in a bar who you could totally believe would do something like that. She's like maybe kind of attractive in bar light or especially with beer goggles on. Otherwise, she's full of pimples. She just look at any rational time you would just be kind of like, but you can see how these guys are going home with her. And she meets the one guy played by Noah Taylor who lives in the same building she's in, kind of like someplace like I don't know, not necessarily a flop house, but someplace where they just let people live for very cheap or free. And he forms his attachment to her where he's her friend, and she's like, I don't fuck my friends. He's like, I'm not asking you for that. Hangs out, gets her a job, works with her. She's still fucking guys at the job. He gets very
How
protective
come I
of
never
her.
work with these girls?
Yeah, well, you really wouldn't want to.
Yeah. Besides, they always fuck the kitchen staff.
Yeah. And
I
this
make a mean omelet, by the way. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
and the thing is, he looks like a total alcoholic to the point where the whole time watching, I kept going like, I know this guy because it's all shot in Austin. It's like an Austin travelogue. I mean, it's really like Slacker, except it has a story to it.
Okay.
But there's just a point where he reveals how, as a kid, I used to kill animals and get away with it, and I just figured out how not to do it until I used to kill for the CIA, and I'm just kind of taking a break from that, but they're asking me back. Anyway, so what's going on with you? And it's one of those like, okay. Now, you're just watching this, and it just feels like it's one of these things about two very off-kilter people who are sort of slowly making their way towards each other. And then, in the third act, it takes this really dark turn, which they do set up in the very first shot. You just aren't thinking about it. And toward the end, it becomes a revenge film.
Huh.
And just gets really, it's torture, and where I'm not one for torture porn, this was like that kind of torture where, okay, this is completely justified, and I'm almost like rooting for this to happen because
Wow, okay.
because of what comes before that. I'm just
So it's not real gory then?
it's you know it's not it, but it is.
It
You
is.
know, I want to say it's not, but it's just
Is
it's
it
just one of those where it didn't like it warranted that. It wasn't just like, ooh, let us like put it out here to make you giggle. It was just like, this is more on the side of like, yeah, if this guy was doing this, this is how it would go. Probably how far he would take it to do what he has to do, and you can't even fault him for it.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because at first when I thought you were going to say it was pretty tame, it was going to surprise me, because the only thing I know about this, well, I know two things about this movie. One is that Tim League produced it. Mm-hmm. The other is that when they screened it at South by, there was a woman who during the Q&A got up, and instead of asking a question, like you do at a Q&A, she just said...
She just started peeing.
No, she just said, how dare you make a movie like this? How dare you glorify this and that, and basically just went off. And this is why I love Tim League, and the fact that if he's showing a movie at the Draft House, you're in his house, and he will let you know. He basically said, fuck you, get out.
Wow.
Because she wasn't asking a question. She was basically going on this moral tirade about how awful this movie. So when I thought you were going to say it was really tame, I was like, what did she find so offensive that she had to get up and scream not only at the theater proprietor but at one of the producers of the film about it? So I'm glad there's at least something in there that's controversial.
Well,
I
I saw
honestly
this guy's first film, Living in the Dead, and it was one of those films that I could see people being really upset by. I mean, it was a really good film, but it deals with some shit that people don't talk about in polite company. And so I'm, knowing that now, I'm like, I kind of want to see this, especially hearing, anything that pushes somebody's buttons that much.
Sure.
I want to see, with the exception of Co-Host in a Serbian film, I still don't want to see that.
Well, and the thing is, coming out of it, I think most of the critics didn't like it, or were just kind of like ugh. Even one guy was like, man, I was with it until it just took that weird turn out of nowhere, which I didn't think it came out of nowhere. I was like, that perfectly set it up, and I liked that it did do something different. Mm-hmm. You get great performances out of the main girl just because she's not a great actress, but she fit that role so well. Noah Taylor was the one who I thought was really good, because I believe he's British, because he was in that movie Max where he plays Hitler. And it took me forever to figure out that was him.
Yeah, he's British born, but he actually grew up in Australia. So
it was the Australian. Okay. But there's a lot of little actors in there who aren't that great, and it just feels, it feels like somebody's first time. You say it's not his first movie. I'm surprised, because it feels like a first time movie, but a well done first time movie. It's one of these movies where even Corey was like, I didn't think it was that bad, and I was like, came out going like, it wasn't that bad. I kind of dug it more than not, but I thought about it the rest of the day. Even now, I wouldn't mind seeing it again.
Huh. Okay, well, I hope they do end up still sending that to me, even if it's after the fact. I mean, hell, just because it's filmed in a lot of Austin places that I know I'll recognize.
You know how Machete was, where it's just Austin everywhere?
Yeah, I know every single place in this film.
Yes, but, I mean, this is so Austin that these actors, anybody you don't recognize, you're almost sure, like, I'm pretty sure I know that guy.
Yeah, you're watching the film, and you look over to the other side of the couch, and they're filming the sequel right now.
Yeah.
Hey, get out of my house! All right, let's go to some other stuff that I know Brian saw that he was excited about talking about. One was Rambach, I think, that you said you saw and you liked a lot. I don't know anything about this one, but I know a lot of people really liked it. So it's another zombie film, isn't it?
And it is. And you know what's crazy about it is it's a German zombie film. And this is not just a country noted for its silence in zombie films. It's noted for its silence in all genre films.
Well, there's been a lot of German zombies, just not a lot of German zombie films.
Exactly, yeah. Like most of them are in like new wave art and music. And this movie is so intimate. And it's weird to say that about a zombie film, but it's kind of got a weird Rear Window flair to it, because it is about people trapped in an apartment building, and when the zombies invade, they're stuck in their apartments, and it's kind of an exploration of the fact that they only know each other, by looking through the windows. And that's what really reminded me of Rear Window about it. And then also, it adds some interesting elements to the zombie mythology that have not really been explored before, that aren't so out of left field that they feel forced, but are still pretty bold, considering this is a country that's like, this is our first one, and we're changing the mythology. It's like, damn, I mean, that's a ballsy step for you.
It is. I mean, everybody does it with vampires now, to their loss as well, I think. I mean, I think you can fuck around with it to a certain extent, although can we please all get back to them being allergic to sunlight, please?
Yeah, if I see one more vampire walking around in the daylight, I'm going to stake the director.
So sick of that bullshit, I swear
I'm
to
sure
God.
Blade is like, oh, come on. What makes me special now?
I know, right? What, they can all do it now?
Your tax problems, Blade.
But yeah, the zombie thing, I don't know. It's funny how, like, people have misconceptions about what the zombie rules are anyway, based on pop culture's reaction to it. I mean, where did the brains thing come from? Not from George Romero. It came from a comedy
Return of the
about
Living
George
Dead,
Romero's
1985.
films.
Oh, is that where that started?
Yeah, no, that's not a standard. There are very few zombie films. If
At
any,
no
I can
point,
think
at
of.
no point before Return of the Living Dead was it articulated that they were eating brains.
Yeah, that was what
that
they were
was what
after.
was driving them.
That's
it
true.
was
They always
eating
just ate-
flesh.
Yeah, that's right.
But never brains specifically.
But that became a thing that pop culture just grabbed onto, and I can't even think of another zombie film where that's the thing, really.
Dude, kryptonite didn't get invented until the Superman radio show.
Yeah, there you go. So, I guess making changes at this point still can be good, but I'll tell you what, George Romero sure is not good at it.
Well, it's funny. Like I just refuse to get into the argument over semantics of what a zombie is, what it isn't. I'm sorry, if it's a ravenous horde that used to be completely rational people, I'm sorry, zombie. Like that's fine with me. I can accept it because honestly, it just makes the movie flow better to not sit there and go, well, I think technically they're infected, but they're
No.
not zombie. Fuck that. I don't care. Like,
I say anybody who likes Kevin Smith movies, zombie. if you give Kevin Smith the pass with every movie, you're a zombie.
If you went to Glenn Beck's Big March on Washington,
Zombie.
if you saw Jersey Girl twice in the theaters,
Zombie.
if you listen to a couple of cold ones,
There's no brain activity going on, basically. You know what? What I would do to throw a new spin on a zombie movie, something nobody's tried before, adding hope. There's never any hope in these fucking movies. There's always like, hey, here's your cast of characters, and they're all going to die before this is
well,
over
they
with.
do in the comedy ones. You know,
Okay.
Shaun of the Dead,
Okay,
Zombieland,
yes.
which are both definitely like they're not just a spoof of zombie films. They are, in and of themselves, telling a
they're
decent
kind of
zombie
turning
film.
the nihilism of the post-apocalyptic future on its ear by making characters be okay with it.
Yeah.
And I think Shaun of the Dead probably does it the best because Shaun of the Dead actually returns to a stasis. It's one of the few zombie films I've ever seen where things kind of go back to normal.
Yeah, and you know what?
They learn to deal with it.
In many ways, that feels much more realistic than the endings of any of the others. Because
True.
I'm pretty sure that's exactly what would happen in
Yeah,
a
it's like
slow-moving
there's gonna
zombie
be
world.
there's gonna be enough of a group of people that can figure out how to deal with it that you're not gonna lose the entire population of the earth.
Now, if you have the fast-moving zombies, things
Oh,
are going to
you're
be.
fucked.
yeah,
Well,
you're
they
pretty
would just
much
take
fucked.
over. It'd be like I Am Legend.
But
Where it's
as-
like, hey, we're the new people.
As
now.
some people pointed out, which is ridiculous.
You're
even-
the bad guy.
It's ridiculous even saying, but how could that be? Zombies, they're rotting. They couldn't run. Oh, shut up. How could zombie people come back to life in the first place? I mean, you start going
You
to
don't
that
get to pick
level-
and choose when playing suspension of disbelief.
Yeah, well, it's like people go, okay, we've all agreed that this is the degree to which we're all mutually going to suspend our disbelief. But no, that's ridiculous. Like, go past that. Zombies would never listen to ABBA. Or whatever it is. It's like, come on, okay, whatever. I mean, some stuff works, some stuff doesn't, clearly, but be it vampires, zombies, werewolves, whatever, because they don't. I mean, obviously, these are monsters that resonate in the human psyche in a very big way. Otherwise, they wouldn't be as popular as they are. And you can only do so much to change that before they're just not those monsters anymore and they're not resonating.
And it's funny, like, kind of going back to Rambach, one of the things that's really weird about this movie is it's 60 minutes long, like 62, 63. It's almost like a long short.
Really?
See, that makes me a huge fan of it right off the bat.
Well, it's funny because it's like I talked to a lot of people that didn't see it, and I just kept thinking, you could have squeezed it in during a beer break between
Right.
movies. Like, it's so, the story's so concise, and like the biggest complaint I heard about this movie is they wanted more from it. And I'm like, that's kind of a compliment to pay
Right.
the movie. If it has a short runtime and the only thing you can think at the end is, I wanted to see more of it, it's kind of a compliment more than it is a complaint.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe they did that entirely because they want to get the budget to make a sequel. I don't know. But speaking of like films that might as well be zombie films but aren't, a film I really enjoyed this year, and I understand the criticism, but I liked, was Stakeland. Now, technically, this is a world that's been overrun by vampires, but I mean, the 30 Days a Night vampires look like, speakers at Oxford by comparison to these vampires.
geez.
They're just
Speakers at Oxford.
they're just animalistic creatures running around, ripping people apart, eating them. I mean, they're not. There's maybe one in this whole film displays anything mildly resembling intelligence.
If they're vampires, they're the vampires from Daybreakers that haven't had blood in a while. They're
Yeah.
just very feral.
They're totally feral vampires. But this is an interesting. It's not that it's an interesting story. It's a really interesting and well done setting that feels like it's just not done yet. It's one of those movies, like, I feel like I'm watching the middle part of a really great TV series watching this. And you get into it to the point where that's okay. You're like, wow, where's this going? It's not really going anywhere, but it nonetheless is enjoyable in and of itself. It follows this kid who's it starts after all this shit has started. There's vampires everywhere, crazy feral vampires, and he watches his parents get killed right in front of him and is saved by a sort of Remo Williams looking guy who comes out of nowhere and kills the vampire, killed his parents, and it's like, all right, you might as well come with me and I'll show you how to get things done in
You can be my sidekick.
Steak Land.
Put these titles on.
And one of the worst titles of any film at Fantastic Fest this year. Steak Land, really? You almost can see the actor wince when he has to say the line.
I think you can almost see the producers going, no, but Zombieland was really successful.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. It does feel forced on it in that sense. But, once you get past that moment, it's pretty fascinating. And watching the way these people travel together as this kid learns how to fight these feral vampires, as they meet people along the way, and these people almost immediately all get killed and eaten. It's kind of fun in the sense that it feels
these guys are kind of poison. Like, I don't want to hang out with them because everybody they come in contact with ends up dead.
It feels very Walking Dead-ish in that sense.
Okay.
That it's like they keep meeting people and they keep dying horribly, partially because they went and started to hang out with them. But it's fun. They're neat characters. Everybody in here is interesting and distinctive. I enjoy it. What did you think about it, Brian?
I honestly, and this is, I don't know, I don't want to judge it based on this because I normally don't judge things based on this, but at Fantastic Fest, it's doubly important not to. I fell asleep about halfway through it, and instantly you'd think, oh, because it was boring. It's like, well, I'd also been up for 40 some hours.
What day of the fest did you see it?
Jesus Christ, I don't even remember. It was all a blur. But what I will say about it is that I'm kind of disappointed that a post-apocalyptic film about vampires couldn't hold my attention. I mean, you're talking about two things that I absolutely love coming together in this cool kind of on the road Western movie, which is a really cool framework for it. And I'm still like not engaged enough that I can keep my eyelids open.
Well, because it very much is a Western. It's done like the Desperate Voyage Western, like those we need to cross the Rocky Mountains in the middle of winter type Westerns, and which is very different from the way that genre films usually adapt the Western. You don't usually see this kind of story. I'm a big fan of Westerns. I was wide awake because I wasn't attending on the level you were this year. So I did enjoy it, but I will criticize it as to saying that ultimately it doesn't even really feel like it has much of a conclusion. It just keeps on going, which in this sort of world kind of makes sense. It feels very un-Hollywood in that sense, that it's just kind of...
I just wish it had more of a pulse.
Yeah,
I just feel like it dragged and it knew where it was going, but it was fine with getting there, and it really didn't care if you were on board or not.
Yeah, it was slow moving, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that degree of it. I enjoyed the way that the environment that they were in and the whole, we might die just from the environment, from being trapped in the fucking mountains, being in the middle of nowhere, could kill them as easily as these monsters could. I have no idea. Are there vampires within 100 miles from here? We don't even know if there are any around. But fuck, the wolves might get us if they don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I liked all that. It had that whole bleak feeling to it. There's this really bad moment, though, towards the end, because there's a cult of religious freaks that are like, of course there would be, who have decided the vampires are sent by God, to wreak vengeance. And they bring one of these guys back later in the film because I guess they felt like they had to have like a single villain character you could point at.
Yeah.
And it's just embarrassing. It's like, wow, dude, you could have totally lost this entire 5 minutes and we all would have felt much better about it. In fact, they could edit that whole sequence out of the film and you would never know it was there. That like 5 minutes. You'd never know.
A funny story about this at Fantastic Fest is that this was one of 2 movies this year to feature actress Danielle Harris, who most of us remember from Halloween 4 and Halloween 5 as Jamie, basically the protagonist of those movies. And the guy doing the Q&A for this film, bless his heart, was kind of an idiot. And he got up there and she was sitting there she's adorable. She's just cute as ever, but like he got up there and he's like, so, this must have been exciting for you doing a horror film. Have you ever done a horror film before?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And apparently the audience was like, there was a silence for a moment and then boos. And I'm like,
really?
I'm not saying that when I did a Q&A it was the greatest thing ever, but I'm pretty sure I didn't get booed. Like, I'm pretty sure you have to work really hard to get booed at a Q&A.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was just one of those things. And it's funny. It's like not knowing not knowing her catalog is not the biggest sin in the world, except that they gave you a press release before you went up there. And I know they did because they gave me the same one. Well, you had the actors' bios in front of you, and he followed it up with, "Sorry for not doing my research." It's like, no, but you should. Like, that's not a throwaway thing. Like,
well, a lot of people think I'll just wing it; it'll be fine. It's like when you hear an actor say, "Like, yeah, I'm playing Captain America." I never read any of the comics, but I don't feel like I had to.
Yeah.
Or Tim Burton it's the Ben Affleck approach to acting.
Tim Burton going, well, I read the synopsis of Batman and his history and stuff. I didn't actually have to read a comic book. You know what? I think my version of this story and the relationship between these two characters feels a lot more
I got
resonant.
stoned and watched the Disney Alice in Wonderland. Clearly, I'm fit to make a new one.
Yeah. Well, why don't you guys take turns about talking about the films that you guys saw? Because I don't know for sure what you saw and what you liked or want to talk about.
Well, I mean, we've covered so much of what I've seen. I mean, I saw Buried and Red.
Well, which we cover on the actual site.
Right.
So.
I think the only other thing I saw that we haven't talked about was Cold Fish.
Okay.
And
Brian did not see that one, apparently.
That's all you, dude. I didn't get to see that one.
Wow. Well,
you're on the stage.
Once again, here we have something that's an interesting psychological drama about a very mild-mannered guy who has a young hot wife and a teenage daughter who hates his new wife, and he runs a little modest fish store. And the teenage daughter's acting out. She gets busted for shoplifting, and they go to pick her up in the middle of the night while it's raining. And the owner of a rival fish store, a much bigger one, is there, talks to the other shop owner out of prosecuting her and says, like, hey, you know what? Your daughter's getting on your nerves. Let her come work for me, and she'll stay at my house in the dormitories I have upstairs. I have a lot of young girls who work at my shop, and she'll be one of those.
That's not suspicious at
all. And this guy's like, well, okay, sure. Yeah, and the first thing you do is like, wait, what?
Because if there's anything every young girl aspires to, it's working in a fish market.
Right. But it was tropical fish. It's like not for
well, then that's totally
That's
acceptable.
a girly fish. So, yeah.
But she's just so anxious, like, yeah, I can't wait to get out of his house. And they go visit her the next day, and it's all like, oh, it's so great. And this guy, he's older, but he's got a young hot wife, and we're gonna take good care of her. And hey, dude, tell you what, let your wife stay here. Me and her hash out the details. You go ahead and go back to your shop because somebody's got to watch your shop. So while she's there, he rape seduces the wife.
What?
It's one of these where he's talking to her like, oh, I know your life's hard. You got this teenage stepdaughter who hates you, and your husband doesn't stick up for you. It's got to be rough. Putting his hands on her knee, and he just looks over and just opens her shirt right there.
Wow.
And
that never works for me.
Yeah. He just starts grabbing her tits, and when she's like, I don't know about this, he slaps her a bunch.
Wait, is that what she said? I don't know about this.
Are you still talking about the housemaid?
I know. See, that's what I'm saying. This is my entire Fantastic Fest experience.
This is a very rapey fest for you.
Yes.
Yeah, that was what he was posting on Facebook. It was like, can I please watch a film without rape in it, for God's sakes?
Yeah, they should just call it Rape Fest, as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, this dude, like, it starts out where he's raping the wife, but then when he stops slapping her, she's like, no, please keep slapping me.
So it wasn't really rape so much as it started as rape.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it should be noted that one of the biggest sponsors of the festival this year was Kobe Bryant. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it.
Next year it's Sean Puffy Combs. So should be lots
of movies about people having guns and pretending they don't.
Yeah.
And this goes into, I'm like, all right, this is pretty out there, but psychologically, I want to see what it is. Seems like he wants to teach this guy a lesson. He pulls him in under his wing, kind of forces him, because this guy's a big, loud, dynamic personality. It's like, you're going to be my business partner. We're gonna hook up with this guy. I need you to be an expert. We're going to get this guy to buy a fish from us. And once they get this other guy's money, they kill the dude.
Why didn't they just kill him before, like, making the deal? Just, do you have the money? Yes. Pow.
No.
Why'd you even bother?
Poison him. And I'm not spoiling anything because this is just the beginning of the movie.
Okay.
He takes the meekish guy and makes him his assistant on killing people and cutting them up. And it's this whole network where he's constantly just making this happen over and over and won't let this guy out of it. And it just seems unrealistic. Like, wait, at some point, this guy would call the police.
So this is all in the opening of the film?
Oh, yeah. No, this is all within the first 20 minutes.
Wow.
But, I stuck with it. I'm like, okay. Until, once again, it gets to that last 15 minutes, and even though I've stuck with it and been interested in where it's going to go, it just goes someplace so completely dark and so what the fuck, where I was like, damn it, I should have just left.
Well, then, were you picking these films, or were you just random going, well, I got time to watch a movie, so I'll just go walk into
Well,
this
I looked
one.
through the catalog to see and just read things what seemed interesting to me. Because
Yeah,
I didn't know what anything was going to be.
See the big red label, warning, Asian rape?
Well, no.
That was at the very beginning of the guide.
Yeah, none of it said that. Like the day I saw The Housemaid and The Housemaid 2, I had 5 choices on my list. It's just that those are the only 2 they gave me.
It's just funny, like, everything you picked were films I would never have put on my list to go
Well,
even
Coldfish,
see it all.
you know what? I was just looking at catalog. Wow, it's got a pretty picture, and let's see. And mostly I was like, you know what? If I go see this press screening for Coldfish, I can get a ticket for Redline. And that's what I really want.
Okay, next year, you're going to let me pick your film.
Yes, I was begging you to pick and show me, walk me through it.
You're
like,
right.
"Nah, I
No,
don't have
no,
time for
you're
it."
right. You did.
As
And-
someone who wrote blurbs for the guide this year, I can tell you that it's nearly impossible because you don't want to spoil anything and you
Right.
don't want it to be a review of the film.
Right.
And yet they want you to expound upon it. And it's like there's only so much you can say and only so specific as you can get without, one, spoiling it,
Right.
or 2, making it your own review of the film, which is not really what it's supposed to be. So the guide's a little bit tricky. Like I would maybe, honestly, like I would pick a few things that you're interested in, and then maybe in the second half of the fest, wait for word of mouth. Like, and that's something I've learned as well, is because it's just so hard to write those damn blurbs, and it gives me a lot of respect for the other people that write them, because it's like, this is not an easy thing to do. And then when you try to base all of your decisions on the guide, it's really, really difficult.
Yeah, the
to
guide
do.
only tells you so much, and it's good to try and Google them to look if they've played at other festivals to see some honest reviews of them. Because, I
Okay.
mean, you may not agree with those people's reviews, but they'll give you a pretty accurate description as opposed to the guide that has to... The guide is promoting every film there.
Right.
whether
Right,
or
and
not
you
the
don't.
person
Yeah,
saw
that's the
it,
thing
liked
is
it or
like I
not.
know that my buddy Luke wrote blurbs for movies that he hated,
Yeah.
but you can't say that. You
Yeah,
can't say
right.
that you hate the movie because like that's not cool.
Well, like Troll Hunter 2 was one when I read the description, I was like, I got no interest in that. And then Coles comes out and says like, oh, it was like Cloverfield.
Now,
I was like, shit.
Did you get to see that one, Brian?
I didn't, and I kick myself for not seeing
Yeah,
it.
that
but
was
I-
one of the secret screenings. That
It was. I had, it's like anything else that I missed this year, I was writing or doing an interview or some kind of work-related thing where, I really wanted to go see it, but just did not get a chance to.
I just couldn't believe that was the name of the movie. I was like, are you sure this wasn't part of Fantastic Arcade? It sounds like an
Troll,
SNES game, like, they wouldn't even put a game
I love the
with
name.
that title for PlayStation 3 at this point, or Xbox. That would have to be 20 years ago when they were still like, they would go, Troll Hunter 2, because Troll Hunter 1 was a massive hit.
Right.
Anyway, yeah, I didn't get to see that either. So Brian, what else really turned you on to the festival? What was the stuff you feel like you have to promote? You brought your little
I
post.
did. I actually made a list so I would know what the hell I'm talking about this time. I really liked Norwegian Ninja.
Okay, that is one of the ones that sounded retarded, and then everyone came out of it going, no, it was real good.
And, the reason I will say, just like anybody else, the reason I saw it was probably because of the title, because of the pure genre magic of that title. I went in and watched it, but honestly, and this is the interesting thing, is that it is I'm not going to pretend to know all the backstory on it, but it's based on a true story where a guy in Norway was accused of being a Russian spy and went to jail for a while, has since been exiled. He lives in Cyprus. And basically what it was is you got the impression, hearing his story, that a lot of the evidence was trumped up and completely fabricated. But then they started investigating other people and finding out even weirder things that were true. So they were like, well, if that stuff is true, why is it not possible that he was a ninja? And they made this movie based on the fact that it's like the truth of this case is weirder than the stuff they made up.
That's a pretty big leap there
Yeah.
in judgment. To go.
So it's like if the completely wacky stuff turns out to be true and this other stuff turns out to be, like false, it makes just as much logical sense that he could have been a ninja. And that's where the whole impetus of the movie came from. And it's funny, at the screening they were telling us that since this movie has come out,
turns out he was a ninja.
no, that guy, they're reopening his case.
Really?
They refused to open his case This has been 20 years ago. They've refused to even look at it again. But since this ridiculous little Norwegian ninja movie has come out, they're reopening. This guy might get his name cleared. And it's like, you're telling me that the one movie at Fantastic Fest to affect real social change
Was Norwegian
is
Ninja.
Norwegian Ninja.
That's pretty funny.
That is why I love this festival.
Only at Fantastic
We
Fest.
got to make a movie about my speeding ticket.
Yes.
Just so you can get that overturned. I don't think so.
No, but anyway, about the actual movie, because I realized I didn't say anything about it. It's a lot of fun. It's very entertaining. It's very stylized, and it feels very much like a Wes Anderson movie, except that it's not trying to convince you it's cool.
Oh,
It's like
okay.
Wes Anderson without the precious. It's a lot of very it very much feels like Life Aquatic, because it's this guy training this team, and he's very stalwart about these very weird principles. But honestly, there's some great stunts. There's some beautiful cinematography, great performances. I like all
Stunts.
the.
Wait, is this a movie or a documentary?
No, it's a actual fictional movie, but it's based on a real guy and a
Okay.
real case.
All right, okay.
And it's just brilliant. Like you can't really describe it. You just kind of have to see it. Like, it's one of those movies.
Huh. Okay. That it was one of the ones that I did not even give the time of day to when I read the description. But I hope you didn't write that description.
No, that was not one I wrote.
See, I saw the photo they had accompanying the movie, and I was like, yeah, I don't think this is for me.
I think I'll
You were
skip
probably
that
like,
one.
there's probably a lot of rape in it.
It's like Norwegian Ninja. I mean, it's funny because in previous years the totally weird, like, way northern country films are always great. They're just like, they're films you read the description, you're like, yeah, I don't know, and then you see it and it's just die laughing funny stuff. Hell, my favorite Mystery Science Theater films are when they have those weird little, like, Finnish and Scandinavian,
Frost.
yeah, like Jack Frost, that
Yeah.
weird fairy tale stuff that's like totally bizarre. You're like, I could watch this without the commentary.
Yeah, exactly. I would want to watch it without subtitles. Just like give it to me in Finnish and let me try and figure it out.
Yeah, hold on, I need to take a bong hit first. What else do you have on your list?
There was a quiet little nuanced serial killer movie called A Horrible Way to Die that I absolutely fell in love with. And it's a movie that I had to, unfortunately, I need to say this so it doesn't sound like I was a pirate. I was on the selection committee this year, and it's a movie that unfortunately, we watched as part of the selection process, but the screener we got was broken. It didn't work, so I couldn't see it before the fest. And I was actually going to do the interview with the director and the writer and the star, and so I watched it by myself at my house on a screener, and I just fell in love with this movie. It is very simple. There's not a lot of frills to it, but it's also it's a movie that deals with addiction. It's a movie that has great performances, and it's a movie that really builds up its serial killer main character in a way that's you feel for him, but then they don't let you get too connected. They absolutely deliver the brutality, and they put them on a collision course that is just so beautiful. And then when it comes together at the end, it's just the most satisfying ending of anything I've seen in a long time.
Now, didn't this win one of the awards?
It
this
won
year?
2 awards. Best screenplay for its writer, Simon Barrett, and best actor for Mr. A.J. Bowen. Who,
Okay, yeah.
you may remember from House of the Devil or The Signals. He's been in some really terrific films and was actually also in Hatchet 2. So.
Okay. Yeah, no, I noticed he seems to be one of those actors that this whole, I guess there isn't a term yet now for this new, like, maverick young horror directors that's going on right now, this resurgence of horror that's not all bad remakes. But he seems to be one of the go-to actor guys.
And he should be. I mean, the guy's fantastic. And he knows how to take every single role that he plays seriously, no matter what it is. And obviously this is something that you want to delve into and be really serious. But he brings this amount of competence and research and I don't know, skill to Hatchet 2. And it's like, that's one of the things that made Hatchet 2 so good for me, is like, so many people are just giving it their all, despite the fact that they're in a slasher sequel. It's like, you don't see that very often.
Yeah, no, that's true. Slasher films have been almost unwatchable for nigh on 15 years now until just recently.
Right.
Where people were actually like, you know what, maybe we should stop remaking like the stuff that's come before and try and do something a little more inventive and different.
Right.
And sometimes that delves off into torture porn, and sometimes it makes something interesting, like you say Hatchet 2 is. I personally really like The Collector this year,
Oh, yeah.
as far as an example of like a film that took the initial premise and went somewhere really different with it. But anyway, we're running out of time here, but I just want to ask you a couple questions real quick to see if you saw some stuff to see about movies that people were talking about, because there's a lot of stuff I didn't see that I know people are wondering about. One of them is the remake of I Spit on Your Grave. And now I think like horror fans out there probably are, if they're a fan of this, they're not really a fan of this. They think they are. They're supposed to say that they are, because the original 1978 film is like the definitive exploitation revenge classic, only in the sense that it was so absolutely horrible and violent and disgusting.
How does it compare to Motel Hell?
It's nowhere near as good as Motel Hell. Motel Hell I like. I thought it was campy and fun.
There's nothing fun about the original I Spit on Your Grave. And the only reason that horror fans know it is it's like anything else. You need to know where you came from. You need to know your history. And it's like we know it because it was there and for what it is. But seriously, if you meet a horror fan that says, dude, you know what'd be awesome? Let's watch I Spit on Your Grave right now. Run. Leave the house. That guy is.
They haven't
fucked
actually
up.
seen it, or they're fucked.
Yeah, either they haven't seen it, or you don't want to be around that guy.
I'm that weird person who feels the same way about Last House on the Left, though.
No, I'm totally with you.
Oh,
on
okay,
that.
all right.
And in fact, that's actually a great segue, because that's my biggest problem with this fucking remake. Is at least the Last House on the Left remake took something that was really sleazy and trashy and tried to go a different direction with it. You know, right, wrong, or indifferent, whether you loved or hated the remake, it was an improvement, and it tried to take some semblance of a spark that was there and run with it in a different direction that made it legitimate. The I Spit on Your Grave remake does not even give a fuck if there's anything, if there's any subtext, if there's any new perspective, if any of the characters are three-dimensional. It doesn't care. All it cares about is treading on the name and getting people to pay money to see this movie.
It's a woman who basically gets gang raped and then left for dead, but she's not dead, and she one by one stalks and tortures and murders all of her rapists.
Which sounds like a very basic, very cool premise, but it's just... There is a contract. There's a silent contract that you enter into when seeing a movie like this. It's like, you're going to subject me to 45 minutes of rape. It's probably not that much, but it feels like 45 minutes. You're going to subject me to all of this rape, and I'm going to sit through it and be subjected to it because I know the payoff is going to right my moral compass. I Spit on Your Grave doesn't give a fuck. It's like, no, the revenge is really unsatisfying and very Saw derivative and whatever. We don't care. And it's like, so at the end, I feel like I've watched porn.
Yeah.
I feel dirty for having watched this movie. Like,
Yeah.
I hate this fucking movie.
Wow. Now, you said some people actually liked it.
It was split down the middle.
Really?
And it's crazy to me because I do not understand what there is like about this movie at all.
There are still people who, as you say, you should run from, who defend the original I Spit on Your Grave.
Well, I was
and don't
hoping
get
none of
that
those
either.
people were at Fantastic Fest, but I don't know.
Yeah, if they were anywhere, they were there, though.
Yeah, I guess that's a good
I mean,
point.
that is the genre festival, especially for horror
No,
stuff.
but I mean, it's cliche, and I don't want to say it, but I really do spit on this fucking movie.
You hope they bury a grave, put it in it,
Yes.
and then you'll spit on that.
Yes,
grave.
exactly.
Now, a remake, another horror movie remake from the 70s that I believe you liked a lot better was Mother's Day,
Yes, I did. I liked it a lot.
which is directed by Darren Lynn Bousman, who's did Repo the Genetic Opera and basically all the Saw sequels. I
Saw 3 through 4.
Oh, I
Or
thought
not
you
3,
did-
2 through 4.
believe. Okay, I was going to say, I thought
Yeah,
it was two.
it's 2, 3, 4, maybe 5.
Okay.
Not sure about that.
And this was originally just a pretty standard slasher film, wasn't
Well,
it?
it was originally done by Troma, which is another thing that gets a lot of reverence amongst horror fans. I just cannot stand is Troma Studios, because this is what they make. They make trash for like $12 with no production design at all, with no craft. It all feels like home movies to me. It all feels like really bad
It does,
home
you're
horror
right.
movies, and I can't stand these movies. But again, you have a movie that's very trashy, very sleazy, that somebody took and ran with in a completely different direction and made it an interesting, dark home invasion movie with a lot of suspense, and did something cool with.
It's got names that I recognize. Alexa Vega. Who is that? What's she been in before?
Well, she was in Repo the Genetic Opera.
She was in Spy Kids.
Spy
She's in
Kids.
Spy
Okay, yeah, that's
Kids.
right. Yeah, she's the girl in Spy Kids. Okay.
And
yeah.
the ABC show Ruby and the Rockets. Do you watch that? Is that
No.
one of your TV shows?
No, but
That's not
she
one of your
was-
big
she was a
shows?
little- Tell me she wasn't little kid in Spy Kids.
Yeah, she was the girl.
Oh my god. Okay, well this movie took on a whole new
Suddenly
subtext for me.
Feel really creepy.
But no, it's one of those things that, like, when I was sitting in the theater watching Mother's Day, I just kept hearing all the people around me talk, "Oh my god, this is fucking trash. Oh, this is terrible. It was the worst film of the fest." And I was like, first of all, we're in day 2, so shut the fuck up. And secondly, it's like, I do not understand the hatred toward this movie, and I still don't, because I think even if you don't love the movie, I think it's a very solid, very well constructed home invasion. It's very dark. It's very atmospheric. It is pretty simple, but I thought it was great, and I don't know, I liked it a lot.
Okay. Well, no, that's one of the ones that after hearing you say and hearing that it goes someplace really different from the original, like, all right, yeah, I'll give it a shot, even though it is produced by Brett Ratner.
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah. I mean, it's got, I hate to say I'm one of those few people who still holds out hope that someday Rebecca De Mornay will get a comeback. So, you know.
Oh, dude, if anything was going to give her a comeback,
Keep dreaming.
her performance in this is staggering.
Huh.
Like, she knocks this one out of the park. So if
Okay.
you're hoping for a comeback, more people need to see this movie, because this could be her comeback.
Well, running out here, I know people want to know about Ong Bak 3. The general consensus I heard was that, wow, nothing happens for the first hour of the film. It's like literally nothing. No fighting, nothing. And then when fighting does happen, apparently, it's pretty tedious and not very good at all.
It's funny when you consider Ong Bak, the first one, which seems to have nothing to do with the second and third one, was just so like, wow, what amazing action. It's Tony Jaa. What a fighter he is. I've never seen anybody like this. Now these other two, it's like, yeah.
See, I really liked the second one, personally. I thought it
you know
was
what?
nonsense as far as plot goes, but the action
I
was
like the second one,
fantastic.
but it doesn't ring to me as a sequel to Ong Bak.
No, not really.
I mean, the Protector is more of a sequel to Ong Bak than
Ong Bak
2
2 feels more like a remake made 20 years later by a totally different guy.
It's a sequel to Peter Pan, if the ending is to be believed, where you can just clap your hands. Oh god! I
See,
hate
you know
that
what?
movie.
That you and everybody got so upset about that, and I was like, I don't give a shit. It's a fucking martial arts film.
Well-
Are you seriously? Were you watching this film going,
Cop out.
man, I'm so wrapped up in
No,
this
no, no.
plot.
That's a
Cop out.
valid
It's like
point.
somebody saying, "Oh, it's a kids movie." What do you
no,
want?
no, it's not
No, well,
because
no,
I
mean,
know why I like martial arts.
I understand what you're
films.
saying, but I also hated the martial arts in that movie.
Oh, see,
I
I
wanted
love
the
the
Muay
martial
Thai.
arts
I
in
wanted the cool stuff from the first one, and I felt like all I got was a bunch of pseudo elephant rape.
Nah, see, I love the martial arts in that film, and elephant rape is cool. You take that back. See, that's gonna be I Spit on Your Grave 2, the
Takes
Thailand
a big
production.
man to rape an elephant.
It does, literally. Reminds me of that old.
I mean, so much as the elephant would notice.
Reminds me of that old joke where the mouse takes a thorn out of an elephant's paw, and the elephant's like, "Thank you so much. Well, what can I do for you?" And he goes, "Well, I'm gonna fuck you." And the elephant's like, "Sure, whatever." So the mouse gets behind him and starts fucking away, and the elephant's just forgot about him. It's just like eating some food, and monkey's watching this and laughing so hard he drops his coconut and it hits the elephant on the head, and the elephant goes, "Ow!" And the mouse goes, "Take it all, bitch."
Where did this joke come from? I missed that on the back of my tricks box.
You have to forgive my friend here.
That's a good joke. Now shut up. Anyway, Brian, was there anything else you wanted to bring up before we got out of
I
here?
just kind of want to throw some love to Kidnapped, which was another home invasion movie that played this year that I thought was really special. It's from Spain. We've had a good track record with Spain at Fantastic Fest, what with The Orphanage and The Cold Hour and a lot of other really great films.
What about Carrancha or Carrancho? Or...
I didn't see Carrancho, but I know there were a couple more Spanish films this year. But Kidnapped is it's brutal and it's dark, but it's very honest. And it's one of those things that not every decision made in the movie is based on what's going to make the audience feel better about this or what's going to seem like the Hollywood happy ending. It's all very, very honest and it feels very legitimate. And the cinematography in it is beautiful. Like I've heard, and I can't verify this because it's been a while since I actually watched it, but I've heard the whole movie's in 14 shots.
Really?
Yeah.
That,
It's the cinematography is beautiful, and there's a scene where they do a split screen where one character is off in one place and another character's, and they keep the split screen all the way into the point where they're in the same room, and then they bring it together seamlessly.
so it's a kind of a bottle film.
It's
I guess.
great.
So it's all one location, I would imagine.
It mostly one location, but it's got beautiful cinematography and the acting is great, and it's just one of those quiet little films that It's very unassuming, but man, when you watch it, it's got some shit to say.
Cool.
Okay, yeah, in previous years, Spain has been a big one to watch, but the one I saw from them was, I think it was Spanish, was Agnosia, and I didn't really care for that at all. It was a film of a woman who has some weird made-up disease where her perception is also, like, she has too much perception of stuff, so she's, for all extents and purposes, blind. I mean, she just can't, everything is just coming at her so crazy, she can't distinguish one thing from the other. And it's about a guy who looks just like another guy who's engaged to her, but that guy's in love with her, and she gets kidnapped and brought to this other place so the guy who's in love with her can pretend to be the other guy and try and get information out of her about some magical telescope that her it's really dull as
No, I'm glad they made a movie about a female Dr. Manhattan.
Oh my god, no, it's they think they're making Dr. Zhivago. They really do. They're making this film and they're like going, okay, I admit there's some great cinematography here, but why? You know, why? What's the point of this? This story is boring. It's kind of dumb. It doesn't make sense. And the love story is like, it's this close to rape. So anyway,
once again,
I was not a big year.
Take a drink every time we say rape in this podcast.
I wasn't real lucky this year. One of the other films I saw was the 30 Days of Night, Dark Days sequel, which I thought was atrocious.
It's called 30 Days of Night. 30 Days of Night is the gimmick. Don't set it in L.A.
Yeah, I know. There's like, the gimmick is just gone.
What?
30 Days of Night only takes place in Alaska. That's the only place that has 30 Days of Night.
I'm not the biggest fan of the original. I think it's okay. I kind of like the
it quite a
comic
bit.
book, but you know, the concept is what sold that film to people. Just that there's real tension, that they're waiting for this time to run out. There's no tension in this film.
It would be like setting the sequel to Buried in a food court. Yeah.
All right. That being said, we're about out of time for a Fantastic Fest roundup. I really got to thank you again, Brian.
Yeah, Brian, thanks so much.
Can you tell people where they can find you again online?
Well, for the next 2 weeks, they can find me under the covers. But after that, I am on Hollywood.com, Movie Phone, and Film School Rejects.
Okay. Under your full name, Brian Salisbury.
Under the full name, Brian Salisbury.
So you don't have any sort of AKA or anything
And
like that?
not until Wesley Snipes people catch up with me for that that tax joke.
So this has been a Leog bonus episode.
Call it fantastic. Tell everyone it's fantastic.
It's fantastic. Fantastic. Worst bumpers ever this year. I'm sorry.
There was a really good one that I have to throw out some love to, is the one where the zombies eat the baby.
No, but that's because those were all our friends.
Yeah, that's all people know.
But I agree. That one was pretty funny. But most of them were like so offensive that they were not entertaining.
There's literally one of just watching a baby get born, and I'm more than offended. I was like, man, this is really lazy.
Well, the worst one was the toddler who gives herself an abortion and a chunk of meat falls out of her body, and then she goes, fantastic. And you're like, are you serious? Someone actually filmed this, much less submitted it to someone else?
Awful.
Yeah. Anyway, and that wasn't
give me
even
more
the
rape
worst
movies.
of them.
That's awful.
But we'll be back again. Hopefully next year we'll get more thorough coverage. This year we were really in and out.
We'll be on top of it next year.
It was just a crazy year this year. Like I said, I'm single-handedly doing the DVD thing right now, and it gets a little unwieldy sometimes. So anyway, I don't know if this is coming out in the same release as the actual Leog, but we'll talk to you soon with our television fall preview.